then we should be having some data in our database. So I think we are working with this project Y. Then in this project Y, I should be able to see some data. So let's wait for it to load. It should be connected, but we can try. We can just start our app and we see if we are going to um, connect our data to our database. We see if we have anything. So I'm going to run node server.js, and then I'm going to see this server connected to port 4000. Let's wait for it to connect to MongoDB. I think we did this. Should be able to connect to our MongoDB. I don't know why it's delaying, but we can wait and see. We can check our models if our models are still working correctly. Then we have our controllers, our document controllers. Our document controllers are working perfectly. So let's see our configuration file. Our DB configuration is working perfectly. So this one should be able to connect to MongoDB, but it failed. I don't know why. Could not connect to the server in your MongoDB Atlas. So this one should be due to security issues. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to run it again, node server.js like that, and then see if it's going to connect to our MongoDB, and then we continue. As we wait for this to connect to MongoDB, we can go to where, in case you have not watched the other videos are in this YouTube channel. You can check it out. You can check out my YouTube channel, and then you are going to get the other videos that we have been recording, or the other sessions that we have been recording in this video. That is video 1, then part 2 of it. Then today we are just building part 3 of this application. This one has failed because of server in your MongoDB Atlas cluster. One reason is that you are trying to access the database from IP that isn't whitelisted. So our problem is the IP address that we are using. I'm in a different location, so I'll try to whitelist the address so that we can see if we can be able to access. So to whitelist this IP address, let me go to network access. Then this is my IP address, so I'm going to edit this, then allow access from anywhere, then confirm like that. Change my IP address to allow to be connected from anywhere. That is in the network access tab. So let's wait for it to complete setting up. Then that one is active. So once we try again to restart our app, that is node server.js, then we start, that one should be now connected successfully to our MongoDB. So now, because we have connected our MongoDB, we can check from our database if we still have some data that we have. So I'm going to browse collections. Then I'm going to see if in my collections if I have a document, and you can see from documents we have this document that we just created. So again, I'm going to run this application in localhost port 4000 and see from where we left our application. So I'm going to set it there. I'm going to reload, and there we go. As you can see, we have our document that has everything. All this document is the document that we created previously in our previous session. So this one should be perfectly working up to there. You should be able to include a document, today new doc, and also this new doc we can just set the date 29th like that, and then we can add a document and you can see it has routed back to this page. And then once we go back to this page, as you can see, we have this new document that has been created and fetched over here. So today what we want to do, actually we want to create this functionality. For example, this is the finished product. For example, we want to create this functionality where let's see, application stopped. So let me just start this application again. It seems something went wrong. Yeah. So that is the finished product. We should be able to see this finished product like this. Should be able to run like this. So once you go here, you should be able to have this new or this awesome editor. This is the editor that we want to add in our application. So this is the editor that we want to add in our application. And as you can see from this product here, the editor that we have is this normal editor here, where you don't have anything or you don't have any content. So that's what we basically that's what we want to add. And to add this functionality where we can now have this new or this awesome text editor in our application, we are going to set it up right now. And remember, if you have not watched the previous videos, you can still watch them here uh, in my YouTube channel. You can check them over here, and also the part 2 of it is over here. So I'm going to share the links in case you want the links for the YouTube. I'm going to share it right away. I've shared that link to the YouTube. You can check it out. You can check the 2 sessions that we have been having. So our goal today is just to achieve this and maybe see if we can write content over here, and also this content we are going to check if we can edit this content. So let's go to our code and see how we achieve that. How we achieve that is by adding this edit.html content like this here. So what we do, we are going to replace this content or this edit, this part here, we are going to replace it with a text editor. And this text editor we are going to use, it's called CK text editor. So first thing, as you can see here, we have linked our edit.js file with an edit.js file here. So, and you can see from our list we don't have that edit. So let me just create an edit.js file, then right over here. So this file is the one that we have imported here directly in our code. So we want to add this editor. We want to add that editor in our code. So what we do, we go here into our editor, or in our edit.html. In our edit.html, and then add our editor.js file. So what we are going to do here, let me just cross check something. I'm going to copy some of these codes, and then I'm going to explain what's going on. So I think we have imported this editor, we have imported the CK editor here. You see this editor here, this is a library that we import from a CDN. Maybe for example, if you go to this website, if we visit this website, let's see if we are going to see this editor. If we visit this website online, so you can see we have this, this is the text editor that we are seeing over here. This is just the normal code for that text editor. That text editor, this is the code that we have. This is the JS file for that editor. We can see that is not available. We can try to play around with the with the link and see if we are going to get any editor. Yeah, as you can see in this website, we can see on how to use that particular editor. So because we have already imported it here, it's now up to us just to to write that particular editor. So to use this editor, we do like this. So we go to here and change that from H1, and that one should be well. Then also for the text area we add the ID of editor. Then from the ID of editor, we make sure that everything is correct. Then over here is the back button and everything like that. So our HTML is up, it's ready to receive our text editor. So what we need to do is just add the edit.html, edit.js, sorry. Then we add our, or we import, we import our editor. So one thing that we need to do, remember we are sending also this data to the database, so we can kill two birds with one stone. So I'm going to use the socket. Socket is equal to IO, then that one is a function. Then I'm also going to maybe set up the back button like that. The back button, I'm going to show you where the back button I'm getting it from. It's equals to the document dot get element by ID. Then the ID of that button is the back button, this button here. The back button here is this particular ID here, and it's the one that I'm adding here. So this back button is basically this button, this one here, this back button. Once I click that, then it's able to route me back to the home page. That's what we want to, we want to achieve. We also need to check the CK editor, or that the CK editor that we added into our HTML. We need to write some JavaScript for it to be used. Maybe we can write something like a URL params, and this new URL params is going to write a new URL. This one should be new URL search params, and this one should be equal to, should be like that, URL params. Then this one should be window dot location dot search. So this one is also going to search the location of that document and then append our URL editor into our page. Okay, so here we also going to define const doc ID is the document ID that we are going to route to. Remember, we are editing a particular document, and this one should be now the URL params that we have defined over here. Then dot get the document ID like this. Perfect, the document ID like that. Now we want to fetch a particular document and then append our CK editor into our document. So what we do, we use the fetch API. This is how we use the fetch. Then we do slash API slash docs slash slash dollar sign, then this one should be the document ID. This one here should be the doc ID, and then we change this from the normal that to backticks. Change that to be backticks, and then here we change this with a promise. Then this one should be should have a response. We can call that response. Then it's going to return our response.json file like that. Dot then we add another we add data, then we are going to return the data over here, and this data should be an object with the document.get element by ID, and then we are going to get the document ID like that. We are going to see the particular ID, then we are going to append the text content of that document to the data dot the title like that. Then over here, now this is the title of the document that we are appending here. So this one here should be the document title. So let's see where our document title is. Our document title is right here. So we can append our document title, get element by ID like that. So that one is achieving this functionality where you see this document title, we append this document title. Then for our mail, you see, we have this document title as well. This document title as well is the document title that we have just appended it here in our editor. So maybe we can try to see if our application will work. Let's see. This one doesn't work. Let's see. Maybe we can try it later. Maybe we can try it later, but this one should be working perfectly. But we can try to check in our documents, document ID, get document ID, then we get document dot that, get element by ID, then we text content, then should be data dot title like that. Then over here now we can append a CK editor, like we do CK. It should be CK. This is the syntax for writing the CK editor. You can check this in the documentation, and then you are going to get the exact thing that I'm trying to. It's going to be ckeditor.instances.editor like that, dot set data, set the data to be the data dot content, the data dot content. So we can also try this and see if we have appended CK editor. We can fetch, see, so that one we can check if our edit.js file is really linked correctly. So we can do edit.js like that. Maybe we can stop our server. We can stop our server, then we run it again and see. Then we try it out. Then we run. Still not showing. We are going to figure out why it's not yet showing this. So this one we have fetched. Maybe there is something that we need to add. This one is URL search params. That one should be should be well. Window.location.search, that one should be functioning perfectly. So maybe we can try to initialize the CK editor. Let me see if my function is well closed. Let me just check. We have this closes with that dot 10 dot this other then that closes with that. So we can now initialize. We can try to maybe initialize the CK editor. So here to initialize the CK editor, we just type CK editor dot replace editor dot replace what? Dot replace the editor. Dot replace this editor, and this editor is basically this editor here. You see this editor, this is the text area. We want to replace this text area with this particular editor. Now, because we can't just replace it right away like that, you see, it has already replaced that editor. Maybe if I comment that and rerun, you can see we have our normal text editor or our normal text area. But if I say ck editor.replace, then refresh, now you can see it's able to replace my CK editor with everything. Maybe I can type this, then I can try to style it like I can add something like a quotation, and you can see my CK editor has understood this as like that, just like a quote. So the other part or the other thing that we need to build is actually what we can complete the other part. For example, you see this document here. If I edit this document and it refresh, this document disappears. But in case, let's check this new document. If I edit a particular document here, then I refresh, you can see this one has already been saved to the database. So in our application, we can try to build that. So what we do, we call an editor dot the CK editor dot on what on an event, and our event is on change. And change means if we write something or if we type something here, we are going to execute a particular function because of on change event like this. So here we are going to execute a particular function, and we are going to add our content, and our content will be editor dot get the data, and we are going to see all these functions where we are going, or where we are inputting this function, or we are getting these functions from. So after that, now I'm going to emit the changes. I'm going to emit the changes to the other, sorry, I'm going to emit the changes to other clients. Now this one, you see here we are building a collaboration tool. If I type this and we have a different client, that is a different user that is using our application, I want also to emit. Also, I want to even show that particular thing that I've edited to our user who is collaborating with us. So let's use the socket dot emit event, and then this event should be on edit. If we edit something here, I'm going to also show that object with the doc ID, then also I'm going to show the content of that particular document we are working on, like that. Then after also emitting this change before we do the next thing, we are going to save content to the server or to the to backend or to DB or to our database. You can call it whatever you want to call it over here. So we are going to use the fetch, and this fetch is going to fetch our database, no, not our database, but our backend code that is in our server, and also it's also going to fetch from our DB, and then also after fetching the DB, it's also going to now add content into this DB according to this model that we defined over here, or that we created there. So here on fetch, we want to fetch let's use backticks, then we do /API slash exactly the same like that. The same thing that we did over here is still the same, so we do here. Then over here we write an object that is going to be stored here. So our method, because we want to post something on the database, will be put, will be the method for put. And because it's a document, we also need to set other things like the headers, and the headers also can be an object like that with the content type to be application JSON, like this. Then we can just leave a comma because maybe at some point we might be required to add some more things. And also here we can also set the body.json.stringify like that, and then here inside here we add the content like that, exactly like that. Then the last thing that we can do in our edit, we can actually we can listen for real-time updates or edits. Real-time updates will be whenever I'm writing this is listening to that real time. Whenever I'm editing this, now this one should be saving our data to the backend like that. It should be saving that data to the backend. So we want to listen to real-time edits. So how do you listen to real-time edits? Let's use the socket.emit, and this emit should be if a new user joins or a new thing is joined, then just check the doc ID and then just edit that document ID. But again, we need to do one more thing, that is the socket dot on what? On receive edit. If we receive any edit in our document, then pass the content here, then now do an arrow and then set the editor dot, and then the editor should be we set that data that we have created here on our edit. Then the last thing that we can add, for example, maybe is the back button. If we click the back button, if we unclick the back button, this one can be an arrow function like this. If we click the back button, then we can change the location of that window or the path of that window to window.location dot, we can change with the hyperreference, and then this one should be basically simple like that. Then remember that we have passed our content here. We also need to pass our, content over here like that. And that one should be able now to route and add content to our database. We can change and we can see this button doesn't click go back. So let me check what's going on. That should be the back button. Should get element by ID back button, window dot on click, window dot location dot href to that. So this one should be working perfectly. I don't know why it's not. So let me check back to, let me check if there is any. This one should be working perfectly. This button, once we click this button, should be able to route to, but we can restart our server and check. And then we retry. First, this one should be working. Why is it not working? Let me just check the code, cross check the code. We have this back button with this ID of back button. Let me just copy the ID again. Maybe I misspelled the ID. The back button dot get element by ID. Then we have that back button. Then the back btn dot on click should be on click this function. Then we set the window dot location dot href to that one. I don't know why it's not working. It should be working. Let me change the location for this. That one should be working perfectly, but we will figure out. We'll figure out why it's not working. Also, my CK editor it's no longer working. It was replacing this editor. Don't know why it's no longer working. Don't know why that one worked, but this one here, maybe we can change this to, we can defer this JavaScript. So we can change this to type of type of module. We can check and do away with this type. This one should be working. I don't know why, but everything worked correctly. We can ignore that for now. We use this button here, so we can ignore that for now. But also we can still decide to cross check what's not happening with that particular button. So that said, now our application should be working perfectly, should be able to edit this and should be able to save this to the database. Maybe the reason why it's not working, we need to complete something in our server.js file. In our JSON, not JSON, but our Node.js file, we need to complete some several things that is going to emit, the receive, edit, and everything that we need to add. So we have been able to create a document. After creating a document, now we want to do something extra, that is now edit a document. So here I'm going to add an endpoint. I'm going to add an endpoint to get a specific a specific document by ID. We have to get a specific document and ID, then when we edit, when we do everything, it will be able to add our document to the database like that. So this one should be the correct syntax. So this one should close with that one. Then just immediately before we close it, it should be an object like that. So here we are going to pass an ID, context of an ID. Then this one is going to be request that we have just passed dot the parameters or the dot params like that, and this one is the request dot params like that. And one more thing that we should add over here is the const document, because we want to get a particular document or a specific document is equal to await, because this is an asynchronous function. We are going to await the document model that we created dot find by ID. We are going to find one document by ID or a specific document by ID. Then we pass the ID over here like that. This ID we pass it here. Then we return the response.json, and the response.json should be this document, and this document is this document over here like that. And now we can test the progress of our application like this, and this one we can try to see if this one will save. Still not saving. We need to add one more thing, and that one more thing is triggering those events for edit events and everything like that. So to complete the other parts, we are just going to write around 5 to 10 lines of code, and then it will be able now to save our code to the database. So let's do this. Let's just add here. Remember, we have this IO that we defined here for the socket, and we never used it. So what we are going to do now, it's time to use that IO. It's time to use that IO dot on that socket dot on connection. We are going to have a connection dot on connection. Then we are going to pass a socket. Then we are going to pass a socket over here, and then we write a function inside here. So this socket or this socket should do several things. Maybe we can try to console log and see if there is any connection that has happened. If we have a new connection, we can say new connection established, maybe, and maybe we try our application and see if we have any new connection. New connection established, that means we have been able to use our socket IO and then connected our application. That means with that connection that we have made, now we can send data to our DB. So here, let's leave that like that, just like that. And instead of using const, let's use the socket dot on what? Because we have a connection. Remember, we have a connection, and maybe a user can join. All these connections can be joined. So what we do here, we write an asynchronous function with the you write an asynchronous function here, and here we just pass the doc ID. You are not going to make it a request response doc. We pass the doc ID. Then after passing the document ID, we make it, because this is a function, we are going to do, or we are going to pass the socket dot join. If we have a socket dot join, all this is joined, then we pass the document ID here. Because this document ID, maybe we want to edit this document, we want to change this document, that's why we are saying socket dot join, then we pass the document ID over here. Then this one is basically for clients. It's basically for clients. Is the clients I mean clients by users. This one is clients by users. Maybe if I'm collaborating with a person to write this document, I can see person A joined, person B joined, something like that. We can just say client, or maybe new user joined, either joined a room. If you are creating a room, joined a joined a document edit, something like that, or anything of your choice, you can do that. But also we can leave that for now, but maybe we can just set the rest of this document, that is the user edit. If we have a particular user that is editing our document, can let's just await this the document model that we created. Remember that document model that we created, and I'm going to show you where we created this document model, and this document should be this model that we created. You see, it's called document. This document here is the one that we are requiring over here, or that we are using over here. Then inside here, let's just pass the document ID like that, because we are getting a particular document and a user can edit a particular document. If in that we have a document, we just want to handle some errors. If we have a document in that page, or in that room that a user is trying to join, then you remember this receive edit we created. Then we are going now to make able we make a user to be able now to edit a particular document. Then here, remember, if it's a document we are editing, we are just editing the document content. That is the document content. If we save this and then we do this one should not yet be able to save data to our database, because we need to write one more thing, that is the update documents to the database if we edit that particular document. So let's get outside of this socket.on, and then we write socket.on. Now we create the functionality to edit a document and save a document to the database, and this one will be an asynchronous function as well, but instead of passing the document here, we are going to pass the data of that document, and the data is the data or the text that we are going to be adding. So let's pass document ID here, and also the content, and then assign these to this data that we have over here. Then here I'm going now to save. I'm going to save /update in case this document adds some data. Update the document content to the database in the database. Now I want to update the content data into the database, and this is how you do it. only 3 lines of code. So what we do, we just type const document, because document is equal to await the document model that we created dot, just go to the database and then find all or find everything, so that now we sort this every after we find all the document in our database, then just get the one with the document ID that we want this ID here. Now if we had this document, or if we have this document really exists, then take the document, then take the content of that document, then assign that to the content, like that. Then after assigning to the content, we also need to update several things. The first thing that we wanted to update is the document version history, like that. Let's update the document version, and we remember that is the document versions, and these versions we updating the content. Then we await document, and then we save this document to the database, like that, and that one should be able now to update our code to the database. But one more thing that we need to complete is, after writing this if statement, now we can, after we edit this, we can broadcast in case we add people, those who were collaborating, broadcast changes to other clients or other users, still who are editing in the same document. So in case you are collaborating with a person in our document, then they should be able to see that document content, and then it should be broadcasted over here. So let's save, let's build this and see if we are going to, let's just broadcast this content over here. So this one should be socket dot to document ID, to the document ID, like that, and then it should be able to emit content in that document ID. So here we are going to emit receive edit, then we are going to pass the content like this. Then we save and now try our application, and we can see our application should be up and running. We can check the database if this data is really being sent to the database. Let's refresh. And just check straight. This is the first trial. Check the second document if we have any content. The third document, it seems we don't have any content over here, so that's the thing that we need to be checking. You can see now this one is working, this route here is working. So what we just need to check is why it's not sending data to the database once we do this. So what we are going to check is just that. So that's what we are just going to check, if we are really passing everything correctly. We have everything here that is working perfectly, so we just check on the editor itself. This one should be the one either with the problems. So we have our socket, we have our back button. Remember that at some point it failed, I don't know why. Then we have our URL params. Then we have our new URL search params. Then the window.location dot search, which was okay. It searches all the documents and then you get URL params and get the document ID like that. Then here we fetch document content. Let's here we fetch document content. We fetch the document content here. So in fetching our document content, we go to the API /docs/doc ID dot then we pass our response.json like that, correct. Then we pass the data here, document.get element by ID. That is the document title that we have passed the content, and then that we pass the data.content. Then here we pass the ckeditor.instances dot editor dot set data to data.content. Then we replaced our ckeditor, and here here what have we not done? I think here we need to write one more code. Const editor, we pass the editor. You see this editor we have been all requiring here, this editor here. We have been using this editor, and actually this editor we have not defined it here. So that's why we are seeing these few mistakes that we have. Maybe we refresh and we try again. Next try, we go to the database and see, we refresh. Let's refresh our collection. We have this new document. The content is not being edited. We don't have any versions. As well. So we just need to cross-check everything that we have not done. So we have replaced our editor. We have our editor.ckeditor. We have the instances and then editor. Then editor.onChange. We write a function with the content.getData. Then we emit changes to other client, that is socket.edit document like that. Then we save the content to the backend, that is API/docs. The document ID with the method of put. Then the content should be content type should be application JSON. Then the body should look like that, and we pass the content. So the next thing is the socket.join with the document ID. Then socket.receive edit, we pass the content, editor.save data to the, and we save the content. Then the rest is the document like that. So that one should be working. So what should not be working should be, we have the server, we have our, let's check this one, the script dot, if it's working perfectly. This one should be working perfectly. It should not have been any problems. We created, we edit. Let me check for this edit if we missed something. Let's say we have the socket, we have document list. We just revise in editor container. Editor container. Do we have editor container? Yes, we have the editor container. We have the editor. That is our CK editor, the back button. We have the current doc, which is null, and then we have the create new document. In our case, this one is perfect. Let's see if our event for add document content download content loaded. So I think we have one thing that we have not added here in our previous code that we were creating. I think there's something that we missed. So this function for create document is working perfectly. That should go to check also the title, response, and the method should be post content type, the same JSON, new document, then fetch the documents here. We don't have, we need to uncomment that line of code. We also need to check that. After that, we check this document location. We have it, that is asynchronous this function here. We also have this, so we are just checking the code where we messed up. Fetch documents, in our case it's here, fetch the document like that, and that one should be working perfectly. So let me just add some more content here and see if this document will still work or will still fail. So let me just edit one of these documents. This one is not saving, so let me just add some few lines of code up here and see if it should still work out. So what I'm going to add here, I'm going to check the document, if a single document here dot add event listener, and the event listener should be something like, it should be DOM content loaded if I'm not wrong. Then over here we pass a function that is an arrow function. We pass an arrow function here, and in this function we have the document. And I think we have this document defined here. Either here, do we have a document defined? We are going to check. If it fails, we are going to check it. And this one should be something like, I think this one should be create document. Let me just check from this index.html, but we can ignore that. We can say create document create document button like this. Don't let's ignore this part. Then we add event listener and an event listener, and our event listener will be click. Then this one should be looking like this. Then here after we click this one should be working. You have already figured out this, so this document should be working perfectly. There's no need actually to add this code I'm trying to add here. It's the same code. Should be the same code like this one here. Should be the same code. I'm just trying to rewrite this in a different way. So this one should be working, but I can still rewrite this and see if this impacted anything or had any impact in our code. So let me just define the title and prompt create enter title. We can just say title, and then we can check if we have a title. If we have title, sorry, if we have title, we just end our function there. If we do not have any title, we just do away with our function. So this should be window dot location. Window dot location should be actually it's the same thing as this line of code here. This one should be the same as this. There's no difference. And here we just need to also import this fetch these documents. This is the same line of code, similar to this. That one should not change. That one should not change anything. Maybe we can try testing final, and then we do okay. Maybe wait. Maybe wait, and we check if it has sent any data to the database. Let me just load. See if we have any data over here. Testing this one with empty data. So the problem should be here in our edit.js, because this button is still not working. So I'm trying to figure out why. Maybe I can take this document, just put it here, and test our application. Run here, back document. This one is not working. Why? The back btn. If the document is not working, so the problem should be here. The problem should be in this edit.js file. This one is with an edit ID here. So this one, anyone who can see why this one is not working, why it's not linking correctly? Why is this one not linking correctly? This one it's outside. Maybe we can change the type back to text / JavaScript. When the back button is not working, and this one, if this one doesn't work, then that means our code has some serious issues that we just need to fix over here. But every part of this code is working perfectly. So in case you are following or you are building with us, yours should be working. I'm just checking out what might be the problem. Maybe I can copy one of the existing codes, one of the codes that I have here, and check. I can copy and see if it will work on the other end, like this. That one is working. So the problem here should be a small problem here in our code. Should be either a small problem, either a typo or something of the sort. Let me just cross check quick fast. Back button, the back btn document.get element by id, or we can still reuse the code that I pasted here. So that is the socket button, back button, everything. It's still the same piece of code. Maybe the typos with the CK editors and the rest. But this one, once we try this out and we try the back button, see this one is working. So we can try editing a document, go to the database and see if we have any content that is being saved. We check, and that one is not saving any content. We check. So that's another problem where this one should be working perfectly with the edit. Maybe I can copy this again, this function, this function. Where is it in our server.js function? I just copy this piece of code, this function up to here. I see if it will work out in our application. I copy from here where I'm creating this endpoint all the way to here. Then I just check if it will work out the same piece of code. So it should be working with no doubt. This one is not working. Why is it not working? Maybe we need to check also into our configurations. Or maybe I can just copy the whole piece of code over here. And then change this back to port 4000. And then we try it out. Try editing. This one should not work. So the problem is not our server. The problem is not also in our edit, because we have fixed that. This one should be in either of these files. So we can ignore this. We don't need it. We also need to check the DB configuration. So in our database configuration, that one is okay. So it's something that we are really missing. Maybe we check our document controller. Document, who's our controllers? Document controller. We see if we have created all the documents. We have create document. Perfectly working. So we check also in our routes, doc routes, document routes, we check. In our document routes, we have this working. We have the create new document, that is well. We also have the routes. This one also should be working perfectly, but I can just copy the code and try it out. Yes, Brian Mwangi, you have raised your hand. Yes, yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mhm. Yes. Okay. Anyone in the team would like to maybe explain to us why? Maybe you know why? Anyone? So you can type on the chat. You can tell us. You can still type on the chat why. Maybe someone can give it a trial. So our friend James, you can maybe you can type on the chat what's going on with our model MVC. Yes, hello, hello, James. Yes, that was Brian. Is Brian here or Brian left? Brian, kindly ask your question. Yes, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out why this is not working. So I'm going to copy this code in our document controller, maybe in our document controller, and then take it here to our document controller. Save. Let me just restart my server. Now our routes, our application is no longer working with our routes. Where is our routes? Cannot find module routes. Wow, this one should be cannot find module routes. Let me check. Let me try it out again. Yeah, and there we go. Actually, it was just caching. Everything was working. It was just caching. Didn't try to send. It was just caching that I needed to restart my server. And then when we go to the database, we should be able to see. Yeah, perfectly. And we have our document that is edited over here. So let's try out other document like testing this document and say, and maybe copy this statement and paste it here, just like the way it is, then go back without even clicking a button for save. And when I come back, I'm going to see this document. When I go to my database for me to prove it's working, it's straight here. Let's see. Our document is right straight here. That means our application is up and running, and that's where we complete the three parts of this document. We can create a new document and say we are finally done with three parts like that. Then we check that. Can you see? As you can see, it has this title here, and then we can copy this title and paste it several times like that. We can ignore this one. We can ignore this one. Ignore this one. Then these ones we can change to. We can change to anything that we want, and this one is being automatically saved into the database. You can take that one to be that we can change the styles from heading one to a normal paragraph, a normal formatted one, and also this one we can change this to a quotation mark. You can ignore this one, should not be a quotation or something like that. You can just play around with these documents, then it will be able to do whatever you want. So with that said, that's where we stop our session, or we complete our session. And you can see as much and play with this document still works. Even if I try to add that in real time, I refresh that in real time, that one has been saved to the database in real time. So that means our application is up and running. So let me just push this code to GitHub for us, and I'm going to share the repo right away with you to check it out. Then I'm going to do my commit, and then I'm going to push this code to GitHub straight away. Then I'm going to share this code with you right away from my GitHub. So I need to check if it's here. Let me just grab it right away in this organization, like here. And here we have our code. You can clone that code, you can configure your own stuff. Then that one should be perfectly working. You can leave a star for this repository. I will appreciate a lot. That's what you can just appreciate with me to me with just a star. So that's it for today's session. In case you want to get these videos, we have these videos in my YouTube channel. We have this video one, part two. I'm uploading part three immediately after this session. I'm going to upload that. That is part three immediately after this session. So don't worry. You can get the three parts and then you can study and create this awesome tool that we just created together here. This one is failing because remember that I've just stopped the server. So we can try it and see if this one is working. This one should be working. If I refresh, this one should be able to write a document. If a document is empty, should be able to see and say I love this. On refresh, the document is here. You can build a collaboration tool like that, and actually it's getting the exact content for each of these documents. If the document was empty, still like that. And that's where our session ends. In case you want to get more videos, I'm said, let me just share my YouTube and also my WhatsApp group where you can get these videos from. And also, if you want to get maybe a better course that is machine learning, you can still access that machine learning course. I've also shared that on the WhatsApp or on the chat. You can check that machine learning course and you can just appreciate it. So thank you for joining the session. I appreciate a lot. See you next Saturday for a different session apart from doing the real code. So thank you. Have a lovely weekend.